Okay, it's Wednesday, August the 12th. This is the geraniums in front of my house. I started growing these 3 years ago. I bought 2 plants. I put them here in the front. I was taking cuttings off of those, and what you see now is the result of those cuttings from 3 years ago. These plants here were put in here just this year. These are 1 year old. This one right here is 3 foot wide and about 2.5 feet tall. Here's another one I just planted about 6 months ago, and it's about 1 foot wide right there. And there's another one I put in there just not too long ago, and it's also coming along. Here's another one, and then I just take cuttings like this one right here. This is just a cutting. I just stick it in the ground, water it a little bit here and there, and next thing you know, they just come up they turn into geraniums, full-size geraniums. All of this I learned from Mr. Clay. Anyway, this is it's August the 12th, 2015. I'll just show you the front of the house. Okay, anyway, so here's the front of the house with the geraniums. You can see the geraniums all along here. It's about noon, so the lighting is just right. And that's the front of the house with the geraniums. And of course the tree roses. Another one geranium I just stuck in this year in the corner. Okay, now we'll go in the back. Okay, here's the backyard, and there's another geranium. I put that last year, and then there's another geranium there. As you see, I got geraniums all in here. Let me get around. Okay, all of these geraniums all in here are just geraniums that I just literally just took cuttings, and when I had the cuttings, I hated to throw them away, so I just kind of stuck them in here, and they're all coming along. So some of these don't look as good as the ones in the front, but hey, it just adds a little color. Over here on this side, I've got, again, more geraniums. Here's another big one right here. This is about 2 feet wide and about 18 inches tall. Here's another cutting that I just put in the ground earlier about a month or so ago, and it's just now coming along. So, and here's some more older ones right there. There's another one from last year, and here again in this area here, all geraniums that have just that I just planted. I just stuck them in. I took cuttings. When I was cutting some back, and I just took cuttings, and I said, let me just stick them in the ground, see what happens. As you can see, it looks like a geranium garden almost. So, and there's of course my bird bath. Okay, now here we are over here on the side of the house. There's another geranium down there, and as you can see, there's another small one right there that's just coming. That one there I just planted last week, and it's already getting ready to bloom. Amazing. These are just cuttings. There's another geranium right there. This one here is coming along a little better. And then there's another one, and there's another cutting I just put in last week. Now this one here is about 1.5 years old. This one's a little bit bigger. This one's about 2 feet, almost 3 feet wide, and about 18 inches tall. And then there's another geranium down there on the bottom, and then there's another one right there. Okay, and of course this is my a line of tree roses along the fence in the backyard. It looks good, and they also provide a measure of security. Anybody jumps over the fence, they're going to get a stuck-in rose bush. Okay, and here's the geranium garden from another viewpoint, going around, as you can see, full of geraniums. I planted every one of these. I took cuttings of every one of these. There's some more little ones down there in the bottom. Okay, here I am in the back of the backyard, and once again, more geraniums coming along. You can see it's all geraniums all along there. Every one of these I just took cuttings, and I just instead of throwing away, I just cut them into little cuttings and stuck them in the ground. And that's it. That's what came up. It just grown along ever since then. I cut it here about once a week, cut off the dead blooms. And then of course along the back, again, I've got all tree roses along the back of the fence. Again, anybody jumps the fence, they're going to get stuck in rose bushes. Here's another view of the middle garden with the small geraniums. These are the worst looking ones, but again, they just stuck them in there and see what comes up. And this one here is doing pretty good. It's still coming along though. It's only a few months old. I forgot. Here's two more. Some more geraniums around here. I got so many geraniums I forget where they all are. And there's a couple more there, and then there's one right up underneath there. And this here is I've got a couple of rhododendrons there. These are actually red rhododendrons. They bloom in bright red, which is somewhat unusual. And if you notice around this backyard, underneath all of this is green stuff is actually baby's tears. I remember we used to sell a little 3-inch square pot of these things for like $1.89, and that was what, 40 years ago. And so, and I get out here, and this stuff grows wild. None of this has been planted. It just comes from out of the air, and they grow and they just spread in this great ground cover. But first time I saw it, I couldn't believe it because it just grows wild. And because it doesn't freeze out here, it lasts year round, so that's why it's able to grow and proliferate as much as it does. But anyway, so that's what all the green is on the ground you see everywhere is all baby's tears. I remember Ms. Clay used to like baby's tears a lot. So when I first saw that, I thought about Ms. Clay. Okay. Anyway, every week when I come in here and I water these once a week, and this year especially because they're starting to get bigger and they're starting to look pretty decent, I'm just reminded of Mr. Clay, and I would not have known anything about this if I hadn't learned it from him how to take cuttings and how to do rooting. And that's exactly what I've done here, except I haven't done fancy. I just literally stuck them in the ground and that's what come up. It all started, all of these are all from just 2 plants from about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, but I know at least 3 years ago. I took the 2 plants that I got from, Home Depot, and I brought them home and they just did really well out front, so I just took cuttings and I would stick them in the ground wherever I had a blank spot, and this is what the result is right now. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Clay. Once again, another reason to remember Mr. Clay. It's amazing. All right.